Breaking news, Lions fans. Things are heating up behind the scenes with the Detroit Lions, and I've got something really important to share with you. We all know that our general manager Brad Holmes is hungry to take this team even further and finally bring home that long-awaited Super Bowl. But on the other hand, there are still some key issues the team needs to sort out before the season kicks off. In just a moment, I'll break down everything I've learned over the past few hours. But before we dive into the details, make sure you hit that like button. But do it only if you believe Brad Holmes knows exactly what he's doing and can lead the Lions to the biggest achievement in our history. Man, I truly believe in this. And if you believe too, drop it in the comments. Go Lions. We're going to the Super Bowl. Now, I really need your full attention. Let's get into it. Go Lions. The clock is ticking. Cuts are imminent, and the Detroit Lions must finalize their 53-man roster by Tuesday at 4 p.m. This is the moment that separates dreams from reality. And after OTAs, minicamp, training camp, and the entire preseason, the picture is becoming both clear and brutally difficult. The truth? This roster is stacked from top to bottom, and every single decision feels like it carries the weight of the season. Fans have been debating for weeks, but now it's time to lay it all out. Position by position, the battle lines, the surprises, and the possible heartbreaks. Let's dive in and see exactly where this roster stands, and why some names you thought were locks might not even make it through the week. Quarterback was supposed to be the easy one, and in a way it is, but not without controversy. Kyle Allen has looked miles ahead of Hendon Hooker, putting up over 400 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, and just 2 interceptions in preseason, while completing nearly 80% of his passes. Hooker, by contrast, stumbled with a 55% completion rate and just 62 yards in his most recent outing, capped by a quarterback rating of 42.6. Dan Campbell's words regarding the backup QB spot sounded ominous for Hooker, and the feeling inside the building is that he won't just lose QB2, he might not even make the practice squad. That leaves Allen firmly planted as Jared Goff's backup, and the Lions rolling forward with no interest in looking outside the building for another passer. It's Allen's job, Hooker's setback, and the rest is history in the making. Running back has been a puzzle, though less about who the top guys are and more about the bottom of the depth chart. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are obvious, with Craig Reynolds slotting in as the third, followed by Sione Vaki. The real tug-of-war has been between Reynolds and Jacob Sailors. Many believe Sailors has the higher ceiling with explosive burst and untapped potential. But the prediction here is that the Lions stick with Reynolds. The downside? Sailors is unlikely to clear waivers. Once cut, he's probably gone to
another team. Fans who've seen his flashes know exactly how big of a gamble that is. At tackle, the roster seems set with Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, Dan Skipper, and Giovanni Manu. Some wondered if Manu would sneak onto the roster or force the Lions' hand elsewhere, but at least for now, he's in. The guards and centers also feel predictable, with Christian Mahogany, Graham Glasgow, Keota Wasika, Tate Ratledge, and Kingsley Egwakun filling the interior spots, while Miles Frazier sits on the PUP list. The depth is impressive, and for once, Lions fans don't have to sweat the offensive line. It's one of the strongest in the NFL. Wide receiver, though, is where the drama really lives. Do the Lions keep 6 or 7? This projection goes with 6. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Tesla, Tim Patrick, Khalif Raymond, and Jackson Meeks. Tesla has leapt over Patrick for the WR3 role, proving himself as a true playmaker throughout camp and preseason. Dan Campbell himself hinted that Tesla will see real game day snaps, and that should fire up every fan who's been clamoring for more dynamic weapons. The painful part is Dominic Lovett, who deserves a roster spot but likely gets pushed to the practice squad. The gamble is that he doesn't get snatched up, but just like with Sailors, the risk is real. 6 feels like the right number, even if some fans will scream for 7. Tight end is clean and easy. Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, and Shane Zylstra. No surprises there, no debates, just reliability. The offense as a whole? Loaded. There's not much more to say other than this. Defenses are going to have their hands full. Defensively, it starts with the interior line. Alim McNeill is headed to IR to start the season, but when he returns, this group of McNeill, DJ Reader, Tyreek Williams, Pat O'Connor, Roy Lopez, and Micaiah Wingo looks stout. Then comes the real shocker, the edge group. Aiden Hutchinson and Marcus Davenport are locked, but the wild card is a prediction that the Lions go out and sign Zadarius Smith. That's right, a name not currently on the roster, but one that makes all the sense in the world. Add him alongside Hutchinson and Davenport, plus depth from Alquadin Muhammad and James Houston, and suddenly the Lions' pass rush becomes borderline unstoppable. It's bold, it's risky, but it's the kind of move that transforms a defense from strong to terrifying. At linebacker, the depth is absurd. 6 make the cut: Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, Brent Stewart, Trevor Nowask, and Zach Cunningham. Malcolm Rodriguez remains sidelined on the PUP list for now, but when he's back, this group only gets deeper. Cunningham, in particular, has played well enough to demand a spot, and the Lions simply couldn't justify leaving him out. This is one of the strongest linebacking groups the Lions have fielded in years. In the secondary, the corners project as DJ Reed, Terrion Arnold, Amick Robertson, Rock Ya-Sin, Khalil Dorsey, and Avonte Maddox. Safeties round out with Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Lawrence Strickland, and Ian Kennelly. That's 10 defensive backs total, with Rock Ya-Sin offering versatility between corner and safety. Kennelly has flashed enough in preseason to earn developmental trust, and the Lions don't feel the need to reach for more here. The secondary might not be elite across the board, but it's more than solid, and with a stronger pass rush, the job only gets easier. Special teams remain rock steady. Hogan Hatton at long snapper, Jake Bates as the kicker, and Jack Fox, the GOAT, handling punts. No issues there, no debates, nothing to worry about. It's as solid as it gets. This 53-man roster, from top to bottom, shows just how far this team has come. From struggling to fill holes just a few years ago to now having to cut talented players who will absolutely get scooped up elsewhere, it's proof of how deep and competitive this Lions squad has become. The only real questions? Do the Lions gamble with 6 or 7 receivers? Do they risk losing Sailors? And will they make the aggressive move to bring in Zadarius Smith? That's the roster-shaping decision that could define the season. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think the Lions should stick with 6 wideouts or push it to 7? Do you take Craig Reynolds or Jacob Sailors? And the biggest one of all, should the front office go get Zadarius Smith and put this defense over the top? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This roster is loaded, but the debate is far from over. And here's where things get even more fascinating, because while the names on paper look like a dream for Lions fans, the hidden story is in the risks behind the decisions. Every roster cut leaves a ripple effect across the NFL, and Detroit is at the point now where they can no longer hide talent on the practice squad. Take Jacob Sailors, for example. His explosiveness and limited snaps made jaws drop, and you can bet opposing scouts have already taken notice. If Detroit lets him go, he won't be around by the next morning. That's the price of building a strong roster. You can't keep everyone, and sometimes you lose players you desperately wish you could stash away for later. Fans need to prepare for that kind of heartbreak. The wide receiver dilemma mirrors this perfectly. Keeping 6 is logical, but it's a gamble with Dominic Lovett. Coaches know he's got the skill to contribute right away, but numbers are unforgiving. Amon-Ra St. Brown is untouchable. Jameson Williams offers deep threat speed.